Hello and welcome back to the zone, everybody. Welcome back to Stalker 2, where today we're going to be taking a look at another gun. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Makarov, or as it's called in game, the PTM. The reason why it's called the PTM in game is because the regular Makarov in real life is called a Makarov PM or a Makarov PMM. I'm actually not sure what that acronym stands for. I'm sure it's something in Russian because this is a Russian pistol. But in Stalker 2, this is your starting pistol. It's actually the very first gun that you get access to in the game. And funny enough, you get access to the unique version of it right away. So you have this as soon as the tutorial starts, and you're always going to have a Makarov on you throughout the entire game because of the unique version that you always have. So first up, let's go over the stats of the Makarov and where you can get one. It's going to be pretty obvious where you can get a Makarov. Pretty much every enemy in the game has Makarovs. Even towards the end game, it's not uncommon to see enemies still carrying around Makarovs as you loot their bodies. So these are pretty common pistols. It's really easy to find their ammo too, as they use the 9x18. And it's just this, the Stechkin, and the Bucket, I think, are the only ones that use the 9x18. So there's not a whole lot of competition between the weapons. Two of those are pistols. The other one is a submachine gun. The Makarov, for its base stats, is actually pretty decent for just a starting pistol, as it has okay damage, not really the best, okay penetration that can be buffed with upgrades. It's got a good rate of fire. You can spam out the Makarov pretty fast. It's got lowish range, but not really the worst, and it's actually got pretty good accuracy. So overall, this pistol is decent for the start. It's actually still kind of decent throughout the game because keeping a Makarov on you is really easy because you have the unique one, and it has access to like armor-piercing rounds, which can help at least hit for headshots. It can actually be pretty ammo efficient if you just want to be running around with the Makarov. It's also really easy to find 9x18. That's definitely one of the most common rounds that you're just going to be finding in boxes. And I never feel bad or anything when I'm spamming the Makarov at boxes just to get them out of the way. It's a little bit faster than what it would be to knife them or just to melee them. So for the general pros of the Makarov, this one is extremely cheap. It's really easy to upgrade. It's really easy to fix. Skif's pistol has never really costed me that much money to actually fix throughout any of my playthroughs so far of Stalker 2. It's always been like sub 300. And even a fully broken Makarov only takes like 500 at most for coupons to fully fix up. So that's dirt cheap compared to a lot of other weapons. That is a really good pro. It has a super common ammo too, 9x18. You can find all over the place. Vendors sell it in huge quantities, and it's really, really cheap. So you're pretty much always going to have access to this gun. And I think that was kind of what they were going for with this, is that you're always going to have a gun and you're pretty much always going to have bullets for it. So you don't really have to worry about running out. They're also very lightweight. You can carry around a whole bunch of Makarovs if you would like. They don't sell for a whole lot of money, but you can get some money out of them. As for the major cons of the Makarov, it does have low damage, so body hits don't really do a whole lot to enemies. So going for headshots is what you're going to want to do. And it does get outcompeted by some other pistols. Right at the very start, you have access to pretty much the Makarov or the USP. The USP 45 is a little bit stronger and it holds more rounds than this. Since the Makarov only holds 8 plus 1, the USP I believe holds 15 plus 1. So that is better, although statistically Skif's pistol is also kind of better than the USP, so that does offset that quite a bit, and it makes it so the regular USP is not as useful as it otherwise could be. The other major con is that this one does kind of get beat out by like the Stechkin. I think it's called the APS in the game. That's the other sort of Makarov looking pistol. It holds a lot more rounds in its 3-round burst, and it's actually pretty accurate for those 3 rounds, as well as you can spam them out pretty quick. So just going for headshots with that, or even just body shots, will be more effective than the regular Makarov will be. As for upgrades for the Makarov, it can get a couple of upgrades, but most of them don't really change. Here's a comparison between a non-upgraded Makarov and a fully upgraded Makarov. As you can see, the major upgrade here is better pen, which is pretty good. That will make it still pretty viable throughout like the mid game when you're fighting a little bit tougher enemies. You may need to go for like 2 headshots at that point. Lower level enemies, you might also need 2 headshots as soon as you start seeing masks pop up on enemies. Usually it's 2 headshots. If they're just unmasked, hitting them once in the head should kill them. I'm not sure about lower difficulties. I've only played on veteran, so that's just kind of what I'm basing this off of. But the Makarov's perfectly serviceable in the early game. As for an overall tier rating for it, I'd probably put it into like the C tier. It really doesn't help that you already get the unique version to start out with, which is a whole lot better. So let's talk about that. We've got Skif's pistol up next. And this one, statistically, is just stronger than a regular Makarov. I mean, just looking at them, it's just better than this. It's also kind of better than the USP 45, which is a little bit strange, but Skif's pistol is just fantastic. It's extremely lightweight. It can have all the same upgrades the regular Makarov does, but it just has better stats overall. And since it's a quest item, this can't be taken away from you at any point. So in like the arena fights, you always have this on you, at least with one magazine in it, which is kind of useful. And it's not even restricted on like the upgrades that you could put on it. So you can have the extended mag on here, which goes from 8 rounds to 12 rounds, and then you can top that off with +1, so you have 13. And you could also put the suppressor on here, which is just handy for going around and being kind of sneaky. So Skif's pistol is really, really good. It does kind of get beat out by some other pistols later on. I think the Rhino is sort of better than it. At least I would use it a whole lot more because it hits a lot harder. It's got a lot longer range. I mean, it's a big revolver, so that's a big plus in my opinion. And I, again, think that something like the Stalker is a little bit better. 3-round burst with a larger magazine. Pretty much right out the tutorial, you get access to the suppressor on this. And then you also get access to the extended mag, just on like the second main quest that you got to do. So that's pretty good. It's either a solid A tier or it's a low S tier for me. It's very, very good. It's super convenient to always have since it's always on you. Oh, also the psychic dwarfs, I don't remember their official name. The guys who try to pull your guns out of their hand, you can't actually have that if it's a quest item. So they can't pull Skif's pistol out of your hand, which is kind of cool. That's another bonus that this one kind of gets. So yeah, either high A tier or low S tier. It's a fantastic weapon. I think I'd put it up in high A tier right now because I think there are some other better pistols if you do want to go for them. But if you want to run Skif's pistol all the way through the game, you absolutely can. It might be a little bit too good for what you get right at the very start. There is also technically 2 other unique versions of the PTM2. One of them is a DLC that has pretty much the same stats as a standard Makarov. It just has a different color scheme. That is the PTM Monolith. I mean, if you got this, then that's cool, but if not, you're not really missing out on anything, and I still don't think it's as good as Skif's pistol that you start out with as well. So that one I'd also probably put into C tier. And then there's one more that's called the Labyrinth pistol. Now you get this one from doing Kamenov's ending, where you choose to not shoot the... Well, this is kind of spoilers. You choose not to shoot somebody, and then you get this pistol. You're pretty much getting this at the very end of the game, though. You have like one more mission to do. It is a very long mission, and there is a lot of fighting, so you could use this. But by the time you're getting there, you probably have things like the Rhino and like the Stalker that can kind of do the same thing as this. This is basically just an upgraded Makarov. Another pro that I didn't mention about the Makarov is that all the upgrades are super cheap too, and all technicians can put them on. So you can get Skif's pistol maxed out right away. It's actually really easy to do that within like less than the first hour of the game, at least after the tutorial. If you just manage to scrounge up like 2,000 coupons or so, you're pretty much good to go. As for the Labyrinth, it would probably also go C tier. It's too late into the game by the time that you're actually getting it. It does look cool. I like the engravings on it, but it's just not as good as like Skif's pistol. So that'll do it for the Makarov. Tell me your thoughts on this. Skif's pistol is really strong for the start, and also tell me what gun you would like to see next in the Stalker reviews. I would really like to hear that. I'm going to be going through all of them. So thank you guys so very much for watching this. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye everybody.